Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. The prop drop this week, breaking down everything from a prop perspective for Thrive Fantasy, Underdog Fantasy, and of course, Prize Picks. Now, we have a lot to cover this week, so I thought I'd bring on the guest from last week. You know, if you're going to sweep the entire card, if you're going to give out a perfect set of plays on Prize Picks, I got to have you back on. I got to let you continue that win streak. I got to be able to help you guys win some more money. This card, a very, very nice one, 12-fight card slate. As always, we'll go over all our favorite picks for all three websites, and then we'll be able to tell you at the end, answer any questions you may have. This week, I have my DraftKings video already out in the channel, but I will be maybe missing a bit of a betting perspective video. So if you guys want to know what I'm betting, again, check me out on Twitter, or feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments. But without further ado, let's get started. Key three picks. How are we doing, my man? Welcome back.
Was good, was good. I'm glad to be back after a nice sweep last week. Thank you for having me.
Of course, there's nothing better you can do than sweep the entire card. And I know you helped make me a bit of money, so thank you for having me on. And let's continue this win streak. Before we get started, I got to say, use code Gordo on Thrive Fantasy. You'll get 100% deposit match and some free contest tickets. Contest tickets that'll help you join the contest this week and make us some money. All right, without further ado, let's get started. Prize Picks. You don't got any ability to keep that same win streak going on Bellator or PFL. We got strictly UFC this week. I'm starting my first one off. I know you're the guest, but I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to pick my very first one on the fantasy score side of things. We're going to take the under for Carlos Ulberg. Now, I know you're thinking, if you follow me on Twitter, I've bet Carlos Ulberg. I think he wins this fight, but his win condition doesn't score very well, in my opinion. 72.5 fan points is the over-under. And I think that if he wins, he's going to score a nice, slow striking affair. His opponent, Tayfon Chico, will definitely have the wrestling, grappling upside. So I don't see Ulberg landing any takedowns, getting any control time points. His points rely on knockdowns and finishes, which I don't think necessarily going to get. So in a decision win, I see him getting around 60, 70 points. And I think that's a bit too high. Do you agree with me on this one? And what's your favorite play?
Yeah, so we're actually the opposite on this play. I have Ulberg over. I'm a big believer in CKB and everything that they have going on over there. I think watching Nchukwi's film, a little bit sloppy, not too refined on the ground, so I don't expect him to just be taking Ulberg down at will. And I really do think that Ulberg is going to try to up the volume after a slightly boring second fight in the UFC. We know that first fight he had, which was a banger with Kennedy and Nzechukwu. And I think that him just striking from distance, he has the reach advantage. He's going to have the height advantage. Staying out from distance and just sniping, I think that he'll end up finding the KO. And I think that would be a very good play. But I can see the under if he does end up getting into the leg kicking memes that we all know from CKB. But my favorite play of the week is definitely Umar Nurmagomedov. We see the last name, so we all know what to expect. But I really do believe he's the most talented in the family. I'm super high on him. Obviously, we know the control time with Khabib and even Islam, even though he's technically not family. But out of that whole gang, we know that their wrestling is elite. Umar is a much more talented striker. His question mark kicks, all of his kicks, the teeps, the front kicks up the middle, like it's just very, very refined and very technical. I would like to see his boxing expand a little bit more. But he still does have the same wrestling that the rest of the family has. He has the same submission skills with just a little bit more talent and technique on the feet. And I'm super high on him. And I think he's swelled up to about minus 1050 now on DraftKings after being minus 850. And so I think that people are really starting to take notice. And I think that this will be a huge week for him. And I think that he's going to put the MMA world on notice.
All right, fair play. And if we disagreed on the Ulberg one, I'll give you guys another favorite play of this week. Actually, I may like this one even a bit more, but we're taking the under in Thiago Moises. I mean, 94.5 is the projected fantasy score. I don't see that happening a lot of the times. He's put up 60, 70, and 80 points respectively in his last 3 wins. This guy doesn't score very good in wins. He's also looked a bit on the decline. I know he's fought some better level of competition with Christian Giagos, but I think that his win condition doesn't score very well. This guy just doesn't score that many points per minute. He's a very slow fantasy player, and whereas he's a talented fighter, doesn't put out the most volume, doesn't always go out there and proactively search for takedowns or grapple. I mean, this guy just doesn't fight at a really high pace. And for that reason, 95 points is absolutely absurd in my opinion. I think he hits the under in a lot of his wins and especially in his losses. So give him the under there. That may be my favorite pick. In terms of fantasy score, don't mind that. And I also don't mind the over on TJ Brown, but it's TJ Brown, so I'm not going to include that. Are there anything else you like in terms of fight time, significant strikes, takedowns?
Not too much. I do agree with that fantasy score play that you just had for Moises. I really do like the under there. I do have some more targets on fantasy score. Shavkat Rakhmonov over 110.5. I'm super high on him. I think that he's a future champ. I think that we will see him and Chimaev one day. Pray to God there's no injuries for them, because they're heading on for each other. And I really am super high on him, and I believe that he gets Magny out of there very quickly. And I also slightly, and this is a very sneaky play, Chris Curtis under 84 fantasy score. Yes, he's had a very good run in the UFC so far. Is it a little bit fluky? Maybe. I think that Vieira is just too good of a grappler. Vieira is huge. If you don't know, he's a monster for 185, and I do believe that he should probably 205. But he's a monster at 185. Chris Curtis is a little small for 185. I think Vieira is going to get him to the cage, get him down. He's going to drown him from there. He's a world champion in BJJ. I think that we'll see it on full display this week.
For sure, man. I was going to talk about that as well. I'm on Vieira, and look at a guy in Chris Curtis. He's been underdog in his first 2 fights, and sure, he maybe got a bit overlooked, but the guys who fought him didn't fight the best game plans. I mean, both guys had a grappling upside. They didn't choose to use it. Chris Curtis is a very talented, powerful boxer, but you put him on the ground and he gets outmatched. That's how he's lost a lot of his fights, but no one seemed to test that. All right. We all know that Vieira is going to test that. That ground game is second to none. Great job. And when you have a guy in Chris Curtis who tends to give up his back and give up control time, doesn't look very good. I completely agree. I'm on Vieira to win. Don't mind his props as well, but they're a bit more dangerous because we know that if the longer it stays, Chris Curtis is going to be favored in that fight. But even this one, the fight time 6 minutes under, that one's not bad either. I see a very, very, very violent fight for that one. So I think it's going to be pretty fun. But to close it out on this one, I mean, PrizePick is pretty tight. I have a lot of spots I like for the other two. So we're not going to give you guys too many. For this one, still no code for my name, but be sure to use code Liam or code, I don't know what DFS Whisperer's code is, but you can check out both their channels. If you guys want to get started on PrizePicks, they're your go-to guys, in my opinion. I don't mind. One last pick would be the under on Alain Baudot significant strikes, just because of the typical finish rate at the heavyweight division. So I see this fight being pretty sloppy and could finish at any time. And for that reason, 50 is a bit high, especially compared to everybody else around him. But there's definitely some better plays on the board. So without further ado, let's switch it up. Next up, I mean, we got to leave the best for last. So we're going to go, we're going to go Underdog Fantasy next. You got anything else you're really liking to start?
So on Underdog, I think that the value, I posted a play on Twitter at Key3Picks. Make sure to follow and show love. The significant strikes on Rivals with Umar and Nate Maness got bumped to 12.5 plus for Maness. I got it at 9.5. And then I also like Oberg over in Chuckwue's strikes. They have it at a flat rate. Oberg's obviously the much more refined striker. He's going to be in complete control of the fight from that. And I don't really see, unless Nchukwu can get some big flurry that knocks Oberg out, I don't really see that going any other way. I also like Rodolfo Vieira takedowns over Chris Curtis. Curtis has that 1+, but we know Curtis is not going to shoot. So there's that. And I think that we stay safe with the 1.0 instead of 1.5 in case Vieira does only get him down one time and submits him from there. We still end up pushing, and it's no loss in money. So I think targeting that Rivals is really great. And I'll finish it off with one more that I have that's still up. Shavkat significant strikes over Neil Magny. Neil Magny has the
Okay.
plus 5.5 strikes on Rivals. And I really, really like Shavkat to go over here. I think Magny may try to make it a little bit dirtier, but from all accounts, from what we hear from Sanford and from MMA and what we've seen in fights, Shavkat is just a monster on the feet and the ground. So I really don't see anywhere for Magny to go that he'll actually be safe. And so I really like Shavkat to show out. And I really believe that targeting Umar and Shavkat throughout the whole weekend is just a good strategy, honestly, to target the two brightest prospects on the card.
For sure. And I'm agreeing with Jay Money here. Shavkat under 11.5 minutes. I mean, the guy's at 100% finish rate. He's an absolute killer. It's kind of where I'm going with underdog. First play right here. Over 0.5 finishes. His win condition's a finish. I mean, he's got 15 of them, 15 wins, 15 finishes. Guy's an absolute stud. I'm liking him to finish this fight. It is a bit riskier prop because you're betting on something against a guy, Neil Magny, who has seemed to be pretty durable, but 7 of his 9 losses are by finish. I do think Rakhmonov's definitely able to get him out of there. That's one of my favorite plays. Another one I'm liking. Back to that Tayfon Ulberg fight. We've talked about this way too many times, but look at the takedown side of things. Carlos Ulberg's not landing any takedowns. He's a kickboxer. And I think that the only way that Tayfon wins this fight is going for takedowns. I love Tayfon to win the takedown battle here. With a bet on Ulberg, I kind of hope he doesn't go for them, but we all know that Tayfon's best win condition would be closing the distance and taking him down. And for that reason, you have to bank on Achiki getting more. Don't think that Ulberg's going to even attempt one, so it's all on Tayfon for that. Anything else you're liking?
No, those are definitely my 3 that were top. I really do think that Underdog had the best value this week, and why I want to stress so much it's important to have exposure to different websites. Because there will be value somewhere.
Of course. And I can keep on talking forever, but I limit myself to 4. JP Bays under 1.5 takedowns. Durden's the wrestler here. JP Bays may be better submission artist, but he's not going to proactively search for takedowns. I think that he is going to be taken down sometimes, and that kind of may play into Bays' strategy, but Durden's a better wrestler, and I think for that reason, 1.5 is too high. I think maybe JP Bays is able to land 1 if they both get tired, but in the early bits of the fight, it is going to be Durden pushing him forward. It's going to be Durden staying at range and be Durden even landing those takedowns at will. Bays isn't the best wrestler. He's therefore better at grappling. So give me the under on his takedowns. And last but not least, Jinyu Frey, 47.5 significant strikes. Very, very low volume. I think even if you took the Rivals and if you took Demopoulos to cover the spread and strikes, just because of how low volume Jinyu Frey is, even in her wins, she gets outstruck. She's going to be the better striker, the more accurate striker. But I mean, Demopoulos is kind of a punching bag that walks forward and will land more strikes. So I don't mind that. But definitely Frey favors accuracy over volume, sometimes to her own demise. So give me the under 47.5 there any day of the week. There we go. That's a lot more plays. We're putting ourselves out there. I like that. You did really, really well last week. So I like your plays. We're on the same side for most of them. Well, that leaves us with 1 left. Last but not least, Thrive Fantasy, the book that I love. I love that one. I did pretty well with them last week. We're gonna keep her going again. If you need a code Gordo will help you out there. But I'll let you go first. All right, I'll be nice. Tell us about your favorite target this week.
So this is pretty cut clear. Nurmagomedov does not get hit on the feet. That's one thing. His kicks keeps his opponents at bay a lot. He's very defensively. The whole family is responsible defensively, other than Islam getting KO'd with that one punch. But otherwise, I really don't see how Manis can get a knockdown here. I think Umar dominates from start to finish, and I think the Thrive threw us a bone with this one.
Yeah, I agree. And I honestly think that's probably the most popular target for the week. Rightfully so. I definitely thought that one as well, but I'll go a bit different. We'll take the over on Giagos significant strikes, mainly just because we're fading Moises here. Moises is a guy who doesn't throw much volume, but it doesn't always have the most finishing ability either. I think Giagos will be able to push a pace forward, be able to land strikes, and I think 28 is just a bit too low for him, especially in the later rounds. I'm going to even give Giagos the cardio advantage at the end. And Moises hasn't looked like himself. So give me the over on Giagos significant strikes. I definitely think it's gonna be a fun fight, higher pace than the lines are set at right now. But if you want to throw anything else in there, I do think Umar lands over 1.5 takedowns, and Neil Magny should definitely land under 2.5 takedowns, in my opinion. So I think that's going to be a pretty good look for us there. We'll leave you guys to experiment with that last one. But yeah, I mean, anything else you want to add?
No, all those plays sound good to me.
There we go. And in 15 minutes, we just covered our entire favorite set of plays for all 3 websites. And I appreciate you for coming on. I mean, if there's anything else you want to add, I will close it out, but tell them where they can find you before I do so.
Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Key3Picks. All my plays are coming out usually around nighttime whenever the lines end up dropping on Tuesdays, Monday, Tuesdays. And make sure to follow me there. Show love. I'm in a few Discords. Be down to DM me for any questions. DMs are always open. And that's good. Thank you for having me.
No problem. With that, we conclude the second episode of the Plays and Fades Prop Drop. Now, let me talk to you guys a bit. If you guys want to let me know, I'm still trying to work out how I'm going to do this show. I like what we got going on right now, but if you guys got any questions or any improvements for me, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. I like just talking about my favorite plays on all 3 websites, and along bringing some great minds such as Key this week. I'm thinking about who all of us want to target and where we can find lapses in the market. As for other content I have, DFS video out already on the channel. Current MMA best bets should be up as well. And I'm going on to Eric Betts Fights channel tonight, talking about big money bets, big prop plays. In terms of the full card betting breakdown, don't know necessarily if I'll have the time to do one this week. So I'm going to be sure to tweet out a bunch of links to some better websites. And then I'll also do just like he, and I'll be tweeting out my bets on Friday night as well. But I mean, that's going to do it for me. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me on Twitter at GamblesGordo. Again, show some love to Key for giving out picks. He swept it last week. He's looking to sweep it again this week on PrizePicks. And let's make some money, guys. I appreciate you all for tuning in. That's all I got for you guys. Make some money, steal all this money from PrizePicks, and make sure to use code Gordo on Thrive. So have a good one, everybody. Cheers, and enjoy the fight.